Okay, so I'm basically like merging a few things that I've recorded together. I'm going to put stuff about the debate. There's something I recorded before the debate, and I haven't had an opportunity to actually post it. So I'm just going to merge them all together. So if it sounds like there's different volumes in this recording, now you know why. But nevertheless, if you guys have you guys seen today that video that the fraud in the White House posted of himself? Okay, first of all, who did his makeup? Who did his makeup? Were you trying to make him look black? I'm sorry, I'm black. I can get away with saying that. But he looked like Tyrone in that video. Who did his makeup? Who did it? And then another thing, too. Who recorded that video? You need to be fired. You need to be fired. How could you let him put that video up there? He's rambling like an incoherent maniac. He's foaming at the mouth. Spit is flying all over the place. Like, are you kidding me? Then on top of it, if you're going to make him look like Tyrone, you should have at least made sure that it was like smooth skin, like smoothing out the color. You think Trump would have allowed you to make him look that black? Are you kidding me? You think Trump would have allowed you to do that if he had known any better? This guy's out of his mind. And you guys don't care that he's out of his mind. You just let him do whatever the hell he wants. Come on, man. That video was so humiliating. And the thing is, he doesn't even know how humiliating it is because he's out of his mind. He's so sick, he has no idea what's going on. He rambled for like almost 5 minutes straight. And I'm telling you, I don't even know what he was saying. He doesn't know what he was saying. He was too busy spitting out particles and corona all over the place. He had no idea what the hell was going on. So I just finished watching the debate, and as I told you guys before, there's going to be some differences maybe in volume or the way my voice sounds because I have done some previous recordings, and I just wanted to make sure that I didn't like just keep on loading up content or whatever. And I just wanted to make sure that I cover all these things at the same time. But nevertheless, I just finished watching the debate, and let me just tell you something. Kamala-Harris is a boss lady. Okay, so let me just say a few things because there's not really much to say about this debate. It was a standard debate, but Kamala-Harris was so commanding. She showed you what leadership looks like. Mike-Pence had a fly on his head. A fly came on his head. He looked like a corpse. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That man looked like a corpse. That man is sick. There's something going on. I don't know what it is. I'm going to say, take a guess, and I think it's corona, but let me just, and then his eyes were so red. Somebody, shot a video of putting eye drops on Mike Pence's eyes because his eyes were so red. It was an utter disaster for Mike Pence. I honestly think so. Not to mention that he was lying so pathologically that it was just to the point where it's do you think that people can't actually go and check these things? And some of these things are so readily apparent that the American people are actually suffering these things right now as we speak, that they know that what you're saying is not true. I just don't think it was effective. And obviously you're going to hear the pundits and the commentators will say, oh, he did a good job today because there's such a low bar when it comes to Republicans, right? Because as long as you're not screaming like a raging buffoon like Trump was at the debate, then you did a better job, irrespective of how limited your substance was, how many times you lied, et cetera. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, at least you weren't screaming like a buffoon. But one thing you definitely did notice is that Mike Pence was so disrespectful. He wasn't respecting the moderators. He wasn't respecting Kamala-Harris. He felt that he was entitled to speak whenever he wanted to. He didn't have any respect for the rules there. And that's not really different from what Trump was doing. Trump was bombastic and aggressive and loud and rude and obnoxious. Mike Pence was all those things except for he maybe wasn't loud and bombastic, but at the end of the day, he was disrespectful. He was rude. He was interrupting people. He felt entitled, and you could see that. And I think that if they were trying to win over women in this debate, it's just not going to work because you're just seeing him literally disrespect women consistently over and over and over and over again. But I thought Kamala Harris, the way she would look at him and be like, I'm talking. Let me zip your lips up real quick. I'm talking. I thought that was so effective. I just felt like she finally showed all the women that sometimes just allow men kind of to railroad you, showed all the women, this is how you handle it. I'm going to command respect, and I'm going to demand it, and you're going to give it to me. And Mike Pence, a lot of times he backed down because he realized how the optics of that. That's something Trump would not be able to understand. Trump doesn't respect the optics of those kind of things. Mike Pence does respect those kind of things. But one thing I can definitely say about Mike Pence is that he's a devil. I don't care what anybody says. That man is a devil. He is much more poised and calm, and that's the difference between him and Trump, but he's much more dangerous than Trump is. Trump at least will just spew all the things he's thinking. Mike Pence will package everything and make it seem like he just rosy, these rosy glasses and everything's just so perfect and all this other stuff. And he can speak. He's much more articulate of a speaker. So, and he's much more calm than Trump is. So sometimes people can get caught up in that. But let me just be honest with you. In terms of substance, he lied to you the entire time. There's nothing he was saying that was actually factually accurate. And the thing is, they don't care about telling you the truth. And that is problematic. And I think that when you see Trump lying consistently the week before, and you see Mike Pence lying the week after that, you start to recognize that, these are not the kind of people you want in terms of leaders. And then also, if you have a fly flying on your head, it's hard to believe that you have no self-awareness. And a fly, for some reason, did not want to leave your head. There was something in your, maybe it was smelling like corpse, because you look like a corpse. I'm not going to lie, you look like a corpse. But if you have a fly flying on your head consistently, it didn't fly on Kamala's head, it flew on yours, and everybody noticed it. As a matter of fact, fly was actually trending. That is how bad it was. I mean, how distracting it was. Not to mention his eyes were so red. It's like, you've caught something. He did not look well. He did not look healthy. Kamala-Harris looked like this healthy, vice president that understood her stuff, that she's prepared and intellectual and sophisticated. So nevertheless, that's my interpretation of the debate. I don't think it's going to change much. I don't think it's going to change how people vote. I don't think it's going to persuade more people to vote. I think it's just going to maybe make people that were already voting for whatever party you're voting for more enthusiastic for whatever candidate. And maybe not really Mike Pence, because I think Kamala definitely made me more enthusiastic about the ticket. And I feel very grateful for Joe Biden for picking her. But I'm not sure that Mike Pence actually sealed the deal today for anybody. I mean, he helped the Trump campaign not look so aggressive and bombastic, but I don't think he did anything that was literally going to resonate and that's going to make people say, you know what, now I'm going to reconsider what I was thinking. No, people know that they're struggling and suffering. You lied to the American public, and then you wouldn't even say that you guys are willing to peacefully transfer power. That's a problem. So nevertheless, that's my interpretation of the debate. I'm going to, next you're going to hear, obviously, my interpretation of everything that's been going on with COVID-19 and Donald Trump and their administration, all these people getting sick, and how the sequence of events and how we are at the moment that we're at right now. So Donald Trump is infected with the coronavirus. His wife is infected with the coronavirus. Part of his cabinet is infected with the coronavirus. Then you have his press secretary is infected with the coronavirus. You have the Pentagon. Somebody got infected with coronavirus, and now they have to quarantine. I mean, literally, what in the world is going on? Republicans are getting infected with the coronavirus. And let me just say something. At first, I was like, I'm not going to say anything because I know that I will probably get death threats from Cult45 if I go out there and show you how I had zero fucks to give about the fact that he got coronavirus. And let me just say that I'm not inhumane or anything like that. I'm a humanist. I believe in human life. I never wished him death. I never wished any of that kind of death on any of the other people. I never be that kind of person. I don't believe in that. But I had no sympathy for him at all. And then you hear all these people out there like, oh, Mr. President. Oh, God, Mr. President. Oh, thoughts and prayers to the president. I was like, nah, no, negative, nada, nah, that's not going to be me. And also, there's a part of me at one point that thought, this is a crock of shit. This is a scheme to deceive the American public. His polls numbers are tanking. His debate was horrific because he wasn't even able to denounce white supremacy. And then Melania tapes came out that show that she is just a horrendous human being. So I was like, oh, they're just all of a sudden now they're getting coronavirus, to be able to change the narrative. And they were able to successfully change the narrative. I mean, the Melania tapes didn't really stick that well. So I was thinking, this isn't true. And also he probably wanted to get it so he could, or act like he got it. And then he defeated the champ, the Superman, and all this other stuff. That's why I was like, he wants to come back and be like, coronavirus isn't that serious. And all these people are saying that the media and all these people are saying that they're just lying to you, it's fake news and all this other stuff. That's what I started thinking. But the reality of the situation is that he did get it. And I do believe that he has it now. And I do believe that he is really struggling with the coronavirus right now. But let's just be honest. All those people were had all this sympathy and stuff for him. Why should we have any sympathy? Let's just look at what happened. First of all, let's use the debate. His family, they go into the debate. None of them are wearing masks, or they walk in with the mask and they take their mask off because they want to make this political statement that literally backfires their face. While their dad is on the stage, he's spitting all over the place and particles flying all over the place and he's sweating all over the place and just dripping and oozing sweat and he's steaming up the room and all sort of stuff, infecting the whole room. Okay, they didn't care about anybody's safety at that particular time. They didn't care about spreading the coronavirus, and none of them were wearing masks. Then they have the super spread event where they have this nomination, gathering for this so-called Supreme Court justice. They have that. In that particular event, nobody is wearing a mask. Nobody is socially distanced. There isn't hand sanitizer. There were no protections for coronavirus. And they're over there talking to each other. Hey, Jim. Hi. They're breathing all over each other. How are you, Jim? Hi. How you been, Jim? Hi. None of them cared about anybody in that entire event. Now, all these people in that event ended up getting the coronavirus because they were so reckless. None of them cared. We're supposed to feel sympathy for you? who was supposed to feel sympathy for you? Then we find out that Trump has the coronavirus. He ends up going to Walter Reed, and to all you people who talk about socialism, that was socialized medicine that you saw. This guy paid $750 into the taxes. We paid for this guy to go to the hospital. We paid for the medications he's receiving. We paid for the doctors that he's receiving. We paid for that. This guy paid $750 into the system. He's getting the best care you could possibly get. He's literally staying in a suite. He's all comfortable inside of a suite and everything else. We pay for that. So all you people that are part of the Republican Party, I don't like socialism. I will never trust some socialism. You know, I get food stamps and I'm on Medicaid and Medicare, but that is not socialism. That's a different kind of social. And if it is socialism, it's not with an S. It's socialism with something else, but it's not an S. All of you people who are sitting out there saying that kind of nonsense, that's what you just saw there. This guy was getting socialized medicine. He's getting a host of cocktails and medications that are thousands of dollars worth of medication that the average American will never have, will never be able to get. All of this because this guy chose to ignore a deadly pandemic. This guy chose it. Every single situation he's in right now, that was a choice. This is not something that was happenstance. It's not something that it was an unfortunate occurrence. This is something that he chose to do. He gets into the Walter Reed. He wants to convince the American public that he's not really sick. He's Superman. He wants to prove to everybody he's doing all this work. So you see him with like a folder here on the desk, another little folder over there, and one little folder. They're all empty folders. And I guarantee you, they walked in there. They're like, "Hey, Mr. President. Hey, boy, you okay? You want a Sharpie or you want a crayon?" He's like, "I want a Sharpie." They're like, "Okay, Mr. President. Okay, big boy. We're going to get you a piece of paper and a Sharpie so you can write your name." And he's like, "Yay." We see this guy writing his name on a blank piece of paper. That's supposed to convince us that you're doing work. And if you are going to, let me just tell you guys this. Let me explain something to you. If you're going to try to convince us that he is doing work, do not show us that he's signing his name on a blank sheet of paper. Don't do that. What next? We're going to see the baby gate. So he couldn't get out the room because you're afraid he's going to hurt himself. Who do you guys think you're kidding? And then don't put a couple folders on the table. I mean, he's the president of the United States. He had a whole world of issues. And you guys have 3 folders on the table that are empty? Who are you kidding? But then, okay, let me just, oh my God. While he's in that, Walter Reed, he decides that he wants to go wave at his sycophants and his deranged followers that are out there wearing no masks. He decides to put the Secret Service at risk. So they get into a truck that the windows are up. The windows can't come down. He's wearing a mask, but he still has his particles and his breath and all this other stuff that's just oozing all over the place. The Secret Service people are sitting there wearing masks and some PPE gear, but they aren't equipped for this. These guys are supposed to be able to take a bullet for you. They're not supposed to let you shoot them. But he puts them there and puts them at risk, knowing he's still infected, and has them driving around because he wants to wave. And he's in the car waving like he's Nightmare on Elm Street, like Chucky or something, waving in the car. It was all eerie and scary and weird and stuff. But anyway, he has them, takes them out there, puts all their lives at risk because he wants to go wave to his sycophants. Are you kidding me? Then he leaves the hospital. He leaves Walter Reed. And we know he left Walter Reed against medical advice, but there's no way they would have let him out of the hospital knowing the host of medications he's on. One of them, he's supposed to take it through an IV. So you mean to tell me what? They're going to bring the IV to the White House? I'm not saying they can't. They probably did. But nevertheless, they let him go. Are you kidding me? You know that was against medical advice. But he decides to leave the hospital because he recognized that his polls were tanking and that Joe Biden was getting the upper hand, and then he was looking like he was weak, and his base was looking at it like, oh my God, I can't believe he got coronavirus. Like, I thought he was invincible, you know? So he decided he was going to leave and go home. Well, not home, because that's not his home. That's our home. But nevertheless, he decides he's going to go back to the White House. He gets back to the White House, and he's sitting there walking out of his plane like he's walking out onto the Russian runway, or like he's sitting there, he's Kim Jong-un walking out. He walks up the steps. He gets to the top of the steps. He takes his fucking mask off. And then you see him breathing. He's like, trying to prove to people that he wasn't sick, but you could tell he was still very, very sick. And then he walks back into the White House, knowing he's infected with his particles. He's sweating and all this other stuff. All the grease is running down, all the corona's just in the air. And he walks back into the White House, literally with no mask on, knowing that his entire White House is at risk by doing that. He doesn't care. Even though all these people in the White House are getting infected, he walks back into the White House with no mask on. Then he has the audacity to release a video. He's like, don't let the corona control you. You haven't let the corona control you. You could live your life. Just go live your life. Are you kidding me? You have the audacity to say something like that. Let me tell you something. 200,000 plus people already got controlled by the coronavirus. Then you have millions of people who are unemployed. People are getting their lights turned off. They're getting their gas turned off. They're getting their cars repoed. They're getting they're getting eviction notices. They can't pay their mortgages. They're standing in line at the soup kitchen. They're standing in line at the food bank for the first time in their lives. Are you kidding me? Coronavirus has already controlled these people. And on top of it, those people who got it and recovered, many of them are going to have medical complications for the rest of their life. Are you a fool? How dare you say, don't let coronavirus control you? This guy has the audacity to say something like that. Then after he gets back and none of the stuff that was working by, I'm going to be the saluted president and everyone's going to be like, hail to the Trump. I mean, none of that was working. So what does he decide to do? He sends out a tweet and says, I'm not going to give anybody any money at all. I got to win. If I don't win this elections, I got to win. I'm not going to give any money till I wins. Are you kidding me? Did you think that was going to work? That was literally political suicide. You literally are hemorrhaging voters. And what you want to do is decide that you're not going to give American people the money that they've already put into the system. People are struggling right now. You don't want to give them any money because you realize that your polls are taken and Joe Biden's winning. You're the one that's over there making fun of Joe Biden. He's wearing a mask. He's got a big mask across his face. The big mask. I don't wear a big mask. I have a little mask in my pocket. I don't wear a mask. You're the reason why you're in the situation you're in right now is because of you. Your character, the kind of person that you are, you're the reason why we're in the situation, the predicament we're in right now as a country is because of you. You are the common denominator. And every single person that's catching coronavirus right now, you are the common denominator. The one person we can all say they've been around has been you. You are the person. You are the super spreader. You're the person spreading it to all these people. You don't want to admit it because if you admit that, then you're a total failure. But look at what's happening to this country right now. This is not where we should have been. This is supposed to be the United States of America, the greatest country on earth, the richest country on earth, with the most resources, with the most freedoms and all this stuff. We are losing all of that. The respect around the world, respect globally. Globally, they look at us and like, this country is a joke. How did we ever take the United States seriously? You guys think this stuff doesn't matter, but it does matter. The standard you have in the rest of the world, it matters. It matters. So the thing is, well, let me just tell you something. And his family realized that they made a huge mistake. Ivanka, Jared, the very next time you saw Ivanka and Jared in public, they were running outside, getting some exercise. They had masks on. They're like, 1, 2, 3, 4. They knew what time it is. Their family is starting to realize that this is all backfired. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Trump cannot afford to lose this election because if he loses this election, he is going to get prosecuted for all the crimes. And me personally also, like I said, I'm a humanist. I do not wish people death. But another reason why I did not want Trump to die from the coronavirus is because I was like, I need him to face the music. He needs to face the consequences for all the stuff he did. Death is finality. That is not a consequence. I want him to face the music. And I want his family to face the music. And the only way we can make that happen is we need a vote. Now, I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden or Kamala-Harris. It doesn't make a difference. It's about how you feel about yourself and how you feel about this country. You need to go with your friends and your family, people you haven't talked to in a long time, your acquaintances, your neighbors. If you're walking on the street, go talk to those people in there. If you're even sitting there in the grocery store, go talk to them. If you're in a parked car somewhere, talk to them. If you're at a red light, talk to people. I mean, you need to do everything you possibly can to get as many people as you possibly can to go vote. It's not just about you voting, but everybody you can. I'm going to put a link in the description box so you can figure out what you need to do in terms of voting. If you can vote early vote. If you also can, you can mail in your ballot, follow up to make sure that they received your ballot. Make sure you do that. If you cannot vote early, then what you need to do is November 3rd, you need to stand in line. And I don't care if you're standing there all day, if you take work off. I mean, just think about this as life and death. This is life and death at this point. Over 200-something thousand people dead. None of us want to die. And this guy is so reckless, he doesn't care if he kills the rest of us. So let's just make sure we do everything we possibly can. Let's give him his pink slip on November 3rd and be like, look, you have one job to do right now, and that is pack up your shit and get the hell out of the White House.